Yo, what is up guys, your boy IzuKage here with the finale for What If Naruto Had Time Skip. So quickly, just want to shout out the channel members, Hyphen NB, Posh Spooder, Datara, and the man himself, Archimedes Eisen. And also, if you guys don't know who Eisen is, he's also a What Ifer, and I recently did a collab with him, so check that out. I'll probably post a video on my community tab, so be on the lookout for that. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into the What If. Talk to me nice, look, dirty, So we last left off with the elders giving Team 7 the task of finding their next Hokage, Tsunade. This search would be so much easier with Kakashi's Ninken, but there's nothing around with Tsunade's DNA on it because that's how long she's left the village. So they'd have to go at it the old-fashioned way. They have to go around to any little store or bar or casino because they know she's addicted to that, and take out a picture and ask if they've seen her before. So they do this to around 20 different stores, and eventually they end up splitting up, each of them having a picture of Tsunade and going around showing them to see if they can get any leads. And soon when Team 7 rejoined to see if anybody had any information on Tsunade's whereabouts, Sasuke actually found out some from these two merchants at a bar, and they said that they played Tsunade and won a lot of money in the next town over because they were having this huge festival, so a lot of people were there. So that was their next stop for Team 7. A day goes by and they make it to the village, and it's a huge festival. Like, they're wondering what's the celebration, and they go around to one of the merchants and ask, and they said that this is the 50th anniversary of this town's luck. And what they mean by that is basically like 50 years ago, the land of fire was hit with a bunch of natural disasters like earthquakes, thunderstorms, just anything you can think of. And this town specifically got zero damage from the surrounding area. So that's how it got the nickname, the Town of Luck. And that's why Tsunade was here, to see if any of that luck could rub off on her in her gambling efforts, but unfortunately not. So Team 7, they would go around trying to find Tsunade, but they eventually got tired and rented an inn to stay at while they searched for Tsunade. And Naruto and Ino got a room by themselves, and you know they were getting a bit friendly with each other. So as the days go by, Team 7 could not find Tsunade anywhere they look. So they decide to get a quick drink at this one bar. Yes, you know, Sasuke, Ino, and Naruto are kids, but they have other stuff to drink at the bar. I don't know, just get some water. So they come into the bar and they all sit down, and the bartender asks what they would like. So they give him their orders, and they're just waiting, sitting around. And out of the corner of his eyes, Naruto sees this blonde-haired lady, and she's like cussing out this guy, saying that he cheated, yada yada yada. But then she relented and passed over this huge bag of something. He doesn't know what it is, but judging from the situation, it is probably money, like some coins. So Naruto watches as this lady just throws back a few shots of sake, and Naruto gets a closer look and he realizes that this looks awfully a lot like Tsunade, like the color of the hair. He looks at the image he has, the photo he has, and looks back at Tsunade and like keeps switching, and he turns to Kakashi and he's like, I think that's her. So Kakashi looks up and says, oh, Tsunade, and he gets up and walks over, and Tsunade recognizes Jiraiya. I mean, wait, did I say Jiraiya? Recognizes Kakashi almost instantly, and she says, oh, Kakashi, what are you doing here? So Kakashi begins to explain the situation in the village and how they need her as the next Hokage. And Tsunade is immediately like, no, I'm not becoming no Hokage. Kakashi tries convincing her, but Tsunade is really adamant on the fact that she is not gonna do it. So Kakashi had to come up with some sort of bargain, and he says that if she becomes Tsunade, her entire debt will be wiped. And Tsunade is like, oh, everything? And Kakashi looks her in the eyes and says, everything. So hearing this, Sanada needed no more convincing and was ready to go to the village right now. And Shizune and like the little pig thing are just watching, and Shizune just face palms like, what happened to, never wanting to go back to the leaf? But she switched up so quickly. But hey, she has like millions in debt, so she kind of has to agree. So with that now, Kakashi calls over his team and he introduces them to Tsunade, and immediately Naruto sticks out to her because this is the son of the fourth. So she just says it's good to meet all of them, and they sleep one more night before heading back to the Leaf Village. And that morning when they get up, they get a knock at the door. Well, Naruto and Ino in their room get a knock at the door, and when he opens it, it's not Itachi or Kisame, it's the Sound 4 because they've came to retrieve Sasuke. Naruto looks at Jirobo, who's towering over him, and he says, "Where is Sasuke Uchiha?" Naruto stopped for a second and then froze time, and when he did, he could feel the immense strain, and he said, I've got to get used to this. So Naruto walks behind the Sound 4 and he goes to Kakashi's room, and he unfreezes time and he tells Kakashi about the group of ninjas at his door. So Kakashi and Naruto run out and they face up against the Sound 4, and this is an easy matchup. The Sound 4 get wiped, with Kakashi basically taking care of them with his Sharingan activated, and they do it so quickly before they could even like activate some of the higher forms of their curse mark. And Naruto helped out a lot. He one-shot two of the members of the Sound 4 with his deadly punch ability. And by the time they were all wiped out, Sasuke woke up from all the commotion. He came outside, but they were all unconscious. So Kakashi would seal their bodies into a skull to get ready to collect their bounties from the bingo book. And that's basically it. After they do that, they meet up with Tsunade the next day and head over to the Leaf Village. And meanwhile, in the Leaf, Itachi and Kisame did arrive, but the reason why they didn't ambush Naruto in his apartment is because they just didn't know where he was. When the both of them went to the Leaf, Guy, drove them away. There was no hints of where they were. So after Guy and Kurenai and Asuma beat them up a bit, they ran off and just didn't know where else to look. On their way back to the Leaf, Sasuke, he's jumping along the trees and he's feeling this urge to go to Orochimaru. He doesn't know who Orochimaru is, of course. He just feels this urge to get stronger. But after spending this much time with Team 7, Sasuke's hatred complex, it's starting to change, and he's seeing how hard work can really get him places. So he is going to be training a lot harder during the time skip. And speaking of the time skip, Team 7, they make it back and Tsunade gets announced the 5th Hokage, and it's time for the time skip between Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. And during this time, Naruto would almost master all of Hit's abilities. He would basically become Hit. The only difference between them is their appearance. And simultaneously, Ino and Sasuke would get immensely stronger, and they would be far more powerful than their Shippuden counterparts, with Sasuke training under Kakashi and learning a lot of lightning abilities and developing the Kirin as well, and unlocking the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. And eventually, Tsunade would find a way to get the curse mark off of Sasuke, so he doesn't have that to deal with. And Ino would train under Tsunade, and she would basically be Sakura. She would have Sakura's immense strength and knowledge of medical ninjutsu. Actually, maybe even greater than Sakura, because she would put that much dedication into it, wanting to be more like Naruto. And she would also learn all of her clan abilities, so this would just put her over the edge. Ino is incredible. So after the time skip, someone unexpected would come to the village. Jiraiya, and he immediately went to the Hokage's office, and first he was shocked to see Tsunade as the Hokage and also devastated by the death of Hiruzen. So Jiraiya, after collecting himself, said to Tsunade, "I've gathered a lot on the Akatsuki and it was way worse than any of us thought. They're hunting down tail beasts to start something I heard them call the revival." And Tsunade asked what is being revived, and Jiraiya looked out the window saying, "We don't know yet, but what we do know is that they need the tail beast to do it." And Tsunade's eyes widened and she said, "You don't think?" And Jiraiya nodded his head. "They'll be coming here soon. We know they have the first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth tails. They're efficient and send out strong ninjas to take down the Jinchuriki. I even saw one of their members take down the four tails with little effort. These guys are dangerous." And Tsunade sat back in her chair contemplating their next move when a ninja barged into her office, and Tsunade was going to tell him off, saying they should knock next time, but the ninja showed Tsunade a distress message from the sand. But it arrived way later than it was actually supposed to, because the Akatsuki know about Naruto, and over the 3-year time skip, he went on numerous missions and got the nickname the Assassin because none of Naruto's targets have survived. And the way he's described to most people, the Akatsuki see as some time-space ninjutsu. They see him, teleporting in and out. They see him, some claim that he's freezing time and like punching people, like all this crazy stuff. So all the Akatsuki can think of is space-time ninjutsu. So they decided to change up their strategy and went out in groups of 3 to capture the tail beast so they can do it quickly and cause more destruction so word won't spread as quickly. Like, for instance, right now, the letter that they got from the sand arrived way later. In canon, it was like 3 days, and this time it's over a week. So Gaara, he's already dead. And there's not really much the Leaf can do, so Tsunade thinks it's best to convene with all of the leaders of the other villages, well, I mean, excluding Gaara since, well, he's dead. But yeah, all the leaders of the other villages to convene and talk about what's the best next step to make. Because if they're not careful, this could be the rise of something nefarious, something greater than anyone could deal with. So Tsunade sends out a message to all the other Kage to convene at the Land of Iron, where they usually do these meetings, and 3 days later, there they are. They're in this circular room, and all the Kages have their assistants standing behind them, with the Raikage having B behind him, and Tsunade having Kakashi. The Mizukage openly asked, "So, what are we gonna do about the Akatsuki?" And the little old man, the Tsuchikage, said, "We need to get our tail beast back." And Tsunade says, "That's why we're here to discuss that. We don't know how or what this threat even is, and the fact that they're able to take down these tail beasts so efficiently, that means that they're people to be worried about, and I don't even know if we'll be able to do it. But together, we might have a chance." And all the Hokages, they're murmuring to each other, like wondering, "Oh, why would I want to ally with the Leaf? Yada yada yada. They've had some bad blood in the past." And after a bit of arguing, Tsunade was about ready to convince all of them to join her alliance idea, but that's when a massive smoke bomb went off in the room, and on the ceiling stood a masked man, and he announced himself as Madara Uchiha. The entire room was in disbelief. Madara died a long time ago, but he was there right in front of him. And of course, we know this isn't actually Madara. It's just Obito. And Obito looked at the Raikage and he saw that the 8 tails was was there. And he said, "I'll be taking you." And the Raikage is wondering what he's talking about. And then he activates his Mangekyo Sharingan and using Kamui to send the Killer Bee to his his alternate dimension. And seeing Bee disappear, the Raikage asks, "What did you do with him?" And Madara said, "I declare war on the shinobi world." And he started to disappear into a swirl, but the Raikage tried to blitz him and punch him, but he was long gone. Tsunade declared that we need to work together to be able to stop Madara, but the Raikage was so angry he said, "Screw your damn alliance, I'll take care of this myself." But the Raikage would soon find out that was the worst decision he could ever make. So Tsunade, she's not getting through to any of them, so she's ready to return to the Leaf for this pending attack because the Nine Tails is the only Jinchuriki that hasn't been captured yet, so the Leaf is going to be the place that's going to be attacked next, but they would never realize the scale of this attack. So 3 days go by and Tsunade has reached the Leaf, and the 8 tails is extracted from B. But instead of any individual going to attack the Ninetales, they're ready to revive the Ten-Tails right now. But they still need the Ninetales, so how would that be possible? And that's where Rinkaku and Genkaku come into this. They revive them, and because they spent, I think it was like months in the belly of the Ninetales eating its flesh, they absorb some of its chakra. So using the little amount of the Ninetales chakra they have, another 3 days go by and they're ready to revive the Ten-Tails. And so they do, and send it on a course to the Leaf Village. And there's no time to form the alliance between all the nations because they just don't all agree. So the Leaf is gonna be at this one alone. So Naruto is in the Leaf, and it's clearly apparent that there is a massive beast using its arms to drag its way to the Leaf. And they're both like watching this from the top of a building, and people are being evacuated, and people are panicking. So she grabs onto Naruto's arm saying she loves him, just in case this is the last time they'll be seeing each other, but Naruto wasn't going to let that happen. Naruto's consciousness went into his mindscape, and he saw Hit looking really serious. Like, Hit is never this serious, he's just chill. But Hit was also worried about the Ten-Tails, but he had been devising a plan. He's been talking to the Nine-Tails, and they've come to a bit of an understanding. If the Nine-Tails boost Naruto's body with its chakra, he'll be able to make another dimension, similar to the one that he travels through to do time skip and, all those other cool abilities. But he's going to be using it to seal the Ten-Tails away. So Naruto thought this was a crazy idea, but hey, if it worked, it could save a lot of people. So Naruto's eyes opened to see Ino, and he said, I have an idea. And he begins to run towards where the Ten-Tails will first hit the village, where it was coming from. And he stood on the wall surrounding the Leaf, and he said, Nine-Tails, ready? And he heard a grunt, and its chakra began flowing through Naruto's body, and he began to float off the ground and charge up his ki, preparing to open this dimension. And as the Ten-Tail was coming closer and closer, Naruto flew towards it and reached out and touched the head of the Ten-Tails, and then it just disappeared. People in the village, the Akatsuki, they were watching, and they didn't know what to think. What was that? And Naruto, he fell out of the sky and landed on the ground, and he was almost drained completely. That took a lot out of him because using his first dimension was hard enough. Now he has to make another one, and to seal this powerful beast and to keep it sealed, that is the struggle. So Naruto is on the ground, and he's looked up, and he feels his body, it's tensing up. He feels like he's ready to die. But Naruto's fight wasn't done yet because the Akatsuki saw that their ultimate attack failed, so they had to do it themselves. So they rushed the Leaf, and an all-out brawl ensued with Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kakashi, all these strong ninjas going up against the Akatsuki. And when Naruto recovered, he eventually joined the fight as well. And when he joined the fight, it was done for the Akatsuki because Naruto would seal them away with the Ten-Tails, and this pushed him over to the edge, and he fell over unconscious because this is pushing his body way too far, something Hit would struggle with. Naruto wasn't unconscious for long, only a few minutes, and Tsunade put a miniature version of Katsumi, her slug, on Naruto to heal him. So he actually recovered pretty quickly. And when Naruto opened his eyes, villagers were surrounding him and they were cheering for Naruto. Naruto took on that deadly beast with little effort. That's incredible. So Naruto would go on to become even stronger and revered in all of the nations, and with all the tail beasts being trapped within the Ten-Tails, and the Ten-Tails being trapped in Naruto's sort of time seal, the Leaf would become the most powerful nation because they are the only ones with a tailed beast. And the Leaf would eventually start to expand their territory, going into some of the smaller areas like the Land of Grass. And this is headed by Naruto. They had to fight to get these lands, so Naruto would be in the front lines fighting for the village. And after around 5 years, Tsunade would retire from her position as Hokage, and Naruto would become the 6th Hokage. And for the rest of Naruto's life, he lived pretty peacefully because, I mean, who would attack the Leaf at this point when they're this huge and they have one of the most deadly ninjas comparable to Madara in his, killing, his body count, basically, the amount of people he's killed. Like, you'd be dumb to attack the Leaf. That's like going into a police station to attack it with a plastic fork or something. So Naruto would have enough peace to, develop a family with Ino, and they would become even stronger than him. But that is where I'm going to be leaving this one off. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. And if you liked it, and if you like my content in general, consider subscribing. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next What If.